How do these factors individually and collectively impact our health and energy levels?
Yeah, so the three things, basically the three causes there: stress, lack of nutrients in our food, and then toxins. But in most people, you're going to find one, if not all three of those problems, and they tend just to be a part of our world today. Here we are in 2024, and I don't find anybody today that argues with me when I say everybody has more stress than we should. Right? I mean, there is this background of stress that just is in our lives today, and it's not healthy. So our bodies are designed to handle stress. We do stress all day, every day for our lifetime. But with stress, our body is also designed to have periods of rest and recuperation. Stress should not always be present. We will have stressors, and then that should go away. Our body rests, it recovers. And so when we find that stress is always there, that's what we call chronic stress. And our body physically changes the way that it functions under chronic stress. And so just to give you some examples of that, in almost every case here, somebody will have digestive issues, whether that's constipation, diarrhea, stomach upset, bloating, gas, heartburn, whatever it may be. The reason for that is under short-term stress. So the stress that comes and then goes, my body actually produces more stomach acid during that period. And that's just what happens. It's part of the reason that, maybe an individual that's not used to speaking on stage, we get the butterflies in our stomach, and we might even be so nervous that we throw up, right? That's a digestive response to short-term stress. But when our body transitions from that stress to long-term, where that stress never goes away, the digestive system has an opposite impact. It actually stops producing acid in the stomach. So all of a sudden, we're not digesting food well. We've got gas or bloating or just constant indigestion feelings because we're not producing acid. And that is simply because our body is working to survive. And at that moment, it's not able to produce what is necessary for keeping up. So that's one of the things that absolutely happens during digestion. And so many other things happen, when it comes to food. We actually, hang on to the energy in our stored fat cells because our body says, well, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, and I need to save some of this energy to make sure that we survive. And so your body says to your brain, go eat more food. And that's why when we're under stress, we tend to overeat because the body says, no. I'm going to hang on to that stored energy for right now. I'm not going to let you use it. I need you to go eat some food. And those cravings then are generally sugar, carbohydrate related because that is a quick source of energy for us, And so those cravings that we have are real. It is our body telling our brain to go eat that because I need energy right now. And I could talk for the next few hours on all of the little changes that happens in the body under stress. And then we compound that with a diet that generally is deficient in nutrients anyway, because as you said, a lot of us just want to eat what we want to eat and not care about the overall nutrient density of our foods. And then you compound that a third time with the fact that there's so many toxins in the world that we live in today. And those toxins, when they're in the body, you need to get them out. And so if you don't have healthy detox pathways, your body is going to hang on to toxins that it should not hang on to, adding even more stress within the body. And so what do I mean by detox pathways? That is like something as simple as going to the bathroom a couple of times a day, having a bowel movement. That is normal to go to the bathroom once, a couple times a day, not once every third day. And, moving, getting the lymphatic system moving so our body can get rid of toxins that way. Having healthy skin, our body gets rid of toxins through the skin, healthy liver, and so forth. So again, it is stress, lack of nutrients, and toxins in this world that really combined is part of the reason that we have so many individuals struggling with diseases of all kinds.
And again, a lot you said, and going back to that thought I had, which is on vitamins. There's this concept of actually be eating an amount of international units when it comes to in terms of supplements. I might be wrong, but that's my understanding.
Yeah.
How do you, for example, you spoke about chronic stress, and definitely in a way, at some point that the doctor can actually suggest some pills, medicine pills.
Yeah.
Whereas instead of supplements, I don't know about states, but here in South Africa, they actually, in terms of such as some sort of pills, instead of actually advising you that no, what, and it goes back. I was listening to a podcast, whereas Chris Williamson was speaking with, I forgot the name of the lady, and she said that psychiatrists or psychologists should, instead of before they actually give you in a way of subscription of some type of medication, ask you what kind of exercise are you using, are you doing? And again, my understanding is the fact that the more you exercise, the more you become healthier. But at the same time, that doesn't eliminate the fact that nutrition is important. You can't just exercise just because your doctor said just exercise. Because when will you, again, spoke about energy, when will you get that energy, that proper energy for you to actually do that exercise? Because if you are empty in the stomach, or if you're just eating, as I said, anything that you want, you will see no improvement. And instead of actually be having improvement, it would actually be worse than before. So it's something. How do you actually, in a way of how would you advise people in terms of international units when it comes to vitamins in terms of consumption?
And that's a great question. And when you look at just vitamins and minerals or things like that, where governments have kind of said, here's a healthy amount of vitamin A or different B vitamins, or magnesium or calcium or so forth. But in general, I will say I'm really a little bit less interested in I'll say what the guidelines are here in the US or in Africa or any other country. Where I tend to start individuals is using some herbs that are classified as what we call adaptogens. And the reason I like to start there is there are some herbs that help protect our brain and our body from the negative impact of stress. And so, while again, we've talked about stress and all the stressful experiences that we have and all of those things, if we can help the body to start to function normally, despite that stress response, the first thing we're going to do there is reduce that amplification. So no matter what health issue somebody might come to me and with concerns of. So it could be, anxiousness or depressive feelings like we talked about. It could be somebody has a blood sugar issue, or somebody has a thyroid issue. I mean, literally, you can name it. It doesn't matter what the health issue is. If we can reduce the amplification from that stress, we will improve that health issue right then and there. So to me, that is the primary thing that we do with everything, especially people that come with digestive issues or, again, those emotional health type issues. But if we can reduce the amplification from stress, everything starts to get better. And then we can find out from there, okay, what is the next priority? And by all means, I do think it's great to use a multivitamin. Find a good quality multivitamin, generally not a one a day. I do like multivitamins that are maybe a 3 a day or a 4 a day. Doesn't mean you need to take all 3 or 4 of them. But when you find a multi that is designed as 3 or 4 pills a day, it has a better balance of vitamins and minerals. Whereas one a days tend to be high in the vitamins, but very, very low in the minerals. So I do think that foundation of nutrition is important. But the most impactful thing that I've seen happen is when individuals start to use some adaptogen herbs to modulate stress and And that's the foundation of the three formulas that we put together. And so let me give you an example. Your listeners can go to our website at reddremedies.com. That's REDD remedies.com. And you'll find a formula there called True Energy, which is our stress formula for that person that feels fatigue. You'll find a formula called At Ease for that formula that feels anxious, right? At ease, we just want to quiet them down a little bit. And another formula called Enjoy for that individual that needs that nice lift. All three of these formulas have specific adaptogens as the foundation, because while each adaptogen herb is an incredible solution for chronic stress, each adaptogen has something it's particularly good at. And so the adaptogens that I use in True Energy are Panax ginseng, also known as Asian ginseng, and rhodiola. So Asian ginseng and rhodiola are incredible adaptogen herbs for energy, strength, stamina, focus, and clarity. There's no stimulants, there's no caffeine. They help produce that energy by modulating or protecting you from that stress response. The adaptogen that I use in At Ease is called Schizandra. Schizandra is an adaptogen that is wonderful for emotional type stressors. So perfect, again, for that person that feels a little anxious, worry, fear, fret, for that person whose brain is just going and going and going and it won't quiet down. And then lastly, the adaptogen that I use in our Enjoy formula is called Holy Basil. Holy Basil is an adaptogen that is really wonderful at helping with lifting the spirit. So it helps strengthen the spirit of an individual. And so again, just think about that person that feels low or melancholy, where they just, want to give up today and I don't even want to try again. And Holy Basil is kind of strengthening the spirit, lifting them up so they have kind of the energy, if you will, the fortitude to go out and give it another shot today. So, and then we use other vitamins and amino acids in those formulas as well. But those are the adaptogens as the foundation for those three formulas.
And as you spoke about herbs and when it comes to vitamins and in terms of supplements, amino acids, all of this, one thing that I have seen is the fact that there are people that endorse pills, and there are people that endorse plant-based pills. So to someone that is unfamiliar with, probably they are familiar with pills, normal pills, normal medicine, but definitely there are a couple of people that are unaware of actually what is plant-based medication. So can you actually explain to them in a way of what is actually what is the difference between the two?
That's a great question. So if we look at I'll say your regular medications, which are drugs, okay, that you talked about. Drugs, really have only been used around the world in the last, 100 years, maybe 200 years. So drugs are relatively new on the scene for us. A drug is always an isolate of something. So it's a single compound, generally manufactured, in some plant somewhere. And so when you have a single compound that goes into the body, that compound or that drug is going to have a very specific action in the body. And that's why drugs always have side effects. Because if you push the body in a specific direction and that drug doesn't know how to do anything but to continue to push in that same direction, somewhere along the way, there's going to be an imbalance that it's going to create or a side effect that it's going to create. And so every drug there is has a whole list of side effects for that very reason. If we look at the way our bodies work, our bodies want to be in balance or homeostasis always. So think about our temperature. It's very, very fine. What a fever is or low temperature, right? We have to be right there. Blood pressure, we need to be about 120 over 80. Anything high or low, and we don't feel good. Blood sugar needs to be a very specific number, or high, we've got,